Starfire came off of a shooting star, meaning meteorite, meteorite meaning iron, iron meaning major ingredient of a sword. For centuries people have used iron, particularly meteorite iron, in making weapons because one, it was reasonably available, and it is a pure form of iron. And a lot of times people believed it added special properties to the weapon they were making, because coming from the sky, we identify up there with gods, then they should have had some god blessings. I consider myself a traditional blacksmith. I do just as much, and I have done just as much traditional iron work, from railings to hardware to horse-drawn carriages. I have put a lot of tires on a lot of wheels, and the wooden variety. No, I don't consider myself an artist. I'm more of a copycat. I do see things and I copy them. This is actually a work in progress. It's going to be a rose when it grows up. It sometimes takes me years to finish something. But we do try. You know, this is one that's almost finished. It's a little stainless steel rose, and this one is in full bloom. But I do birds occasionally and strange things. This is actually Samantha's dragon. Samantha is actually a daughter of mine. And as you can see, it has nice points and sharp claws and sharp teeth and sharp horns, and almost everybody that handled it got bloodied. She adopted this dragon before I put it on a base when she was 3 years old. She used to take it out in her stroller, sleep with it, never got a scratch. And when I finally finished it, she looked at it and said, "You're going to sell it now?" And I said, "Yes, I make things to sell." So she thought about it and said, "You're going to call it, what are you going to call it?" And I have a problem with names. You know, Hey You sounds like a very good name for me. As a matter of fact, I call her the kid because it was easier to remember. But I explained to her that I don't name things. It's up to whoever buys it that will name it. But feeling sorry for the kid, I said, you know, no matter what they call it, it's always going to be Samantha's dragon. That was a mistake. I didn't sell the dragon that year. And for that Christmas, I gave it to her. So it actually became Samantha's dragon. What I do when I make a sword is, let me pick something, doesn't matter. Okay? Let's take this one. What I do when I design a sword is, number one, I look into the time period that I want to fit. Once I pick a time period, then I try to go into the shops that they had at the time and look at not only how they worked, but the philosophy of the work itself. Because the philosophy of the work is just as important as the workmanship itself. It gives you input into things that normally you wouldn't find. So, as a historical representation, my swords are accurate. The designs are my own. And if you look through history books, through museums, you will most likely find something almost identical. Like I said earlier, I copy. And a lot of times I come up with designs that I think are 100% original, and then we go back and find that it's something that I've seen maybe 30, 50 years ago. And the image stayed in my head. I need something like that. so I use it. What happens with swords in general is that heavy swords were used, and of course right along with heavy swords, axes. Axes were a very, very important thing, and this particular one is actually a throwing axe. It's accurate up to about 45 feet if your shoulder is good enough. Mine at this point, I don't think it is. I can hit a target reasonably well at about 25 feet, 30 feet.